So this morning we're going to build on fear, okay? I've got an epic, unbelievable quote to end on. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to go right to the end of this morning's free coaching session. And under epic quote to end on, and I'm actually going to start on it for a change, okay? This is from Jean Cocteau, who is a French writer and he's a French boxing manager, and he's kind of known for pioneering what's called surrealism, okay? He says, you have comfort, you do not have luxury. And don't tell me that money plays any part in this, because the luxury that I advocate has nothing to do with money. It cannot ever be bought. It is the reward of those who have no fear of discomfort. How epic is that quote? If you want to write it down or read it out again, get a pen, because this is really life-changing. You have comfort. You do not have luxury. And don't tell me that money plays a part in that. The luxury that I advocate has nothing to do with money. It cannot physically be bought. The luxury I am talking about is the reward of those who have no fear of discomfort. Credit to Jean Cocteau. That's actually his name. And I wrote it down to make sure I could pronounce it properly as Jean Cock and then Toe. C-O-C-K space T-O-E. Because I'm sure it's probably not spelt like that and I probably wouldn't have pronounced it right. Morning, Leanne Claire. Make sure you say hello and good morning. If you're new, make sure you say good morning. Everybody, make sure you say good morning. Let us know you're here. Okay, so yesterday we discussed the story about Nat losing her job. We discussed dodging bullets and we discussed escaping fear, okay? Remember, guys, we're doing a massive free nutrition, training and mindset coaching session on Sunday night as well. If you want to come, it's free. It will be on Zoom, so you will need to register, and I'm going to drop the link in afterwards, okay? But we discussed that risks aren't actually as scary once you take them, okay? And we discussed that action may not always bring happiness, but without some form of action, there will never, ever be happiness. So if you are unhappy, as sure as if I drop this Apple Pencil and it lands on my penis, as sure as that will happen because of the law of gravity, if you are unhappy but you take no action, there will never be happiness. It is as simple as that, okay? And we discussed that most of you are still choosing unhappiness over uncertainty, okay? And that comes down to fear, okay? We left on discussing that if we need to conquer fear, we need to first define it, okay? So we need to be really clear on what it is that we're afraid of. Because if you don't know what it is that you're afraid of, then how can you conquer it? And the only way you will define that is by giving it some thought. You know, you never think these things, all right, I'm going to sit down and think about what is it that's actually making me unhappy? Because I know I'm unhappy, but I'm just kind of ignoring it every day. And then I get shit-faced and stick a gram up my nose every weekend. Or I just argue all the time. Or I'm angry. Or I'm just moaning all the time. I'm negative to be around, fighting with my partner. If that's happening, okay, can't get out of bed, feel down in the dumps, don't like the way I look, stuck in a rut, all the things that we say, okay, there is a reason. But if we don't know what that reason is, we can't fix it, okay? If we do know what the reason is, but we haven't decided why we haven't taken action, to fix it, then that will be fear, okay? And it's that fear that we need to define in order to conquer it, okay? Because many of you are stuck in what we call a don't happy, be worry phase, okay? And this is where I was before I left my career and before I left a relationship. Both are great examples, okay? So we'll discuss it in terms of both, because generally, I think there's two things that make people feel unhappy, okay? It's either their career or it's the relationship that they're in. Now, when we're unhappy in a career or a relationship, we start to suppress our feelings. That leads to depression in its worst state, okay? Or we suppress our feelings, but then even worse, we sedate ourselves with drugs, alcohol, gambling, pornography, destructive behaviour, self-sabotage, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then we're in that cycle, aren't we? Because that will ultimately then lead to weight gain, eating crap, low self-worth, not feeling good about yourself, and you're stuck, okay? So that's the don't happy, be worry phase. Now, when I left, think about it, morning AJ, morning Gemma, make sure you comment and say good morning. So when I left, so I could have failed when I left clubs, I could have failed. This is the worst case scenario. This is what I asked you guys to do yesterday. If you do the thing that you are currently so afraid of, what is the worst case scenario, okay? Morning Julie. So I was afraid of leaving nightclubs because I wasn't sure if I could pay my wage. I wasn't sure if I could. Morning Claire. I haven't forgot you. I'm leaving you a WhatsApp in a bit. I was afraid that I would not be able to pay my bills. I would be afraid that I was going to lose my house. I was afraid that people would laugh at me and go, haha, look at him, tried to make it on his own and failed. And I was also afraid that it could lead me back to drink or drugs. I was afraid that I could go bankrupt, and I was afraid that I could lose my car, okay? Morning Kennedy, make sure you say good morning. So all those things are things that I was afraid of and things that held me back from leaving and going into the self-employed career that I wanted to do, which was coaching people in their physical and mental health, because it had changed my life and it had had such an impact and provided such fulfillment that I wanted to do it to help other people. Because let's face it, at one point I attempted to take my own life twice, okay? I didn't want anyone else to go through that shit. So I made a firm decision that I wanted to do everything that I could to not only make my mum proud, but to help other people. And if I could help one person prevent that pain that I was in, then I was willing to go to work to it every day, okay? Now, then I had to weigh up, and this is what I've done to coach you guys, because some of you will still be, yeah, but I know, I get what you're saying, Lee, but it's different for me. No, you're probably in a better position. Or I get what you're saying, but followed by bullshit excuse, okay? We said that, haven't we? So, if I'd have failed, what's the worst thing that could have happened? Well, I could have gone and got a job back in clubs straight away, okay? If I lost my house, I've got friends who would have put me up. I wouldn't have been homeless. If people laughed at me because I failed, then, well, they shouldn't really have been in my life in the first place. And two, they'll have forgotten and they'll be laughing at someone else next week, okay? It could have led me back to drink and drugs if I'd have failed because of the feelings. Again, that would have been a choice though, okay? I could have gone bankrupt. Again, not worst case scenario. Loads of people go bankrupt. They start again and become millionaires, okay? I could lose my car, but if I lost my car, I'd walk or get the bus. It's like, is that it? But you don't think of it like that. When you think, if I go balls/over his deep right now and go and do the thing that I've always wanted to do, and I've not been doing it because fear has been holding me back, write down what is the worst possible hellish thing that could happen when I do it. Okay? And you'll realise it's not that bad. Because if any of those things had happened, well, one, I could have sold my fancy car and my fancy clothes because I didn't need them anymore. I could have got a bar job to pay my rent. Could have gone back to working on doors. Could have cut back on my lifestyle. Could have developed my side hustle. Could have robbed a bank. Last one's a joke. But you get what I'm saying, don't you? It's not actually as bad as you think. And even if I took the biggest life gamble on the thing that I've always wanted to do, which was this, if I flat face planted into the ground and failed and went bankrupt and lost my house and lost my car and lost everything, it still wouldn't be that big a journey to get back to where I was, okay? And it wasn't that bad, really, in the first place, you know. It's nowhere near the level of survival. Think of somebody in Syria, for example, that every day they're fighting just to be alive, just to survive, okay? It's not that serious, is it? If you quit your job and find a new career, get rid of your partner because you've been in an unhappy relationship for 4 years. It's not fatal, is it? Nothing fatal is going to happen. You're just going to hit a few bumps and a few redirects along the way. But would you rather be on the wrong road with no bumps and redirects, or starting to move forward and make changes and take action, okay? Because whatever you're afraid of that's holding you back, it is going to have a temporary impact on your life at worst, okay? And this is true of most situations. Now, what I want to have you do this morning is I want to have you consider the best case scenario, okay? Or even the probable best case scenario, because this will almost definitely have a positive impact on your life. But what we do is we don't risk what is an unlikely temporary setback because we're afraid, and there is a much more likely permanent thing that's going to happen, okay? There's actually very little risk, only potential. And I've proved that, haven't I? It's, you know, we hold back from doing so many things because we're afraid, but we don't actually know what we're afraid of. So write it down. Now, I'm going to come on to two more things, okay? One is why optimism and pessimism is exactly the same thing, and you've probably never considered it. Morning, Charlotte. Morning, Martin. If you're just joining, make sure you say good morning. Make sure you hit some love hearts. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share the video, please. Morning, Martin. So, very often, fear can be disguised as optimism. Fear can be disguised as optimism. And I'm pretty sure most of you now are thinking, fear can be disguised as what does that even mean, okay? And I thought that as well, okay? So think of a pessimist. So we have a pessimist who would say, let's say this in regard to, not just in regard to the global situation at the moment. Let's relate it to gyms, because let's face it, we all have an interest in gyms. The pessimist would say, oh, well, I can't go to the gym. I've not got a home set up. I'm not going to build any muscle, so what's the point? An optimist would say, oh, I know, but it'll be, you know, gyms will be back open soon, so, you know, don't worry, everything's going to turn out fine. Don't worry, everything's going to turn out fine. Okay? Either way, nothing fucking happens, does it? The pessimist is sat there going, no, it'll be right, don't worry. The optimist is sat there going, oh, everything will work out fine, don't worry. And the pessimist is sat there going, oh, it's fucked. No point. There's no point in nothing, it's over. Okay? optimist, pessimistic, glass half full, glass half empty. Either way, without action, nothing happens to either of them. Nothing. Why? Because they're just thoughts. They're just emotions. Just like feeling anxious is a thought and an emotion. Just like anything, any form of what you're experiencing is a feeling and an emotion as a result of a situation, okay? And without it, without action, nothing happens, okay? You stay the same. Now, there's also something called optimistic denial, which I'm sure you are all gonna have no idea what that means, but when I say it, you're gonna be like, yeah, that's me. Okay, so you avoid quitting your job because you keep thinking that it's going to get better, okay? You stay in your relationship because you keep thinking that it's going to get better. He's cheated on you 5 times, but hopefully it will get better and he's starting to make more of an effort, or vice versa. Okay? Classic one with your job as well is you think, no, but I'm not going to quit because, I'll probably get a pay rise next year. Doesn't matter, does it? You hate your job. Bit more money, an extra 5k a year, you're still going to spend 48 weeks of your year doing something you hate. You're just going to have an extra 5k to spend on things that will cover that up and make it feel a bit better, okay? You're still going to spend 5 days of every week doing something you hate to suppress and sedate yourself on the other 2 days a week with either, things you're putting in yourself or material things that make you temporarily feel better. So I hate my job, but hey ho, I've got a nice house. I'd rather love my job and have a shit house, because one will lead to me being really happy because it's where I spend the majority of my time. One will never ever be enough, okay? It's like a hallucination. Is it really ever going to improve? Really? Is it? Have you actually thought about that, okay? Or is it just wishful thinking for fear of change? We're covering it up. That's why it's called optimistic denial. Yeah, I know, but... Yeah, I know. I keep moaning about it, but... I know. I've been moaning about it every day for the last 5 years, but I've been there 5 years now, it might get better. I'm gonna feel a lot better about it when I get my bonus. You're not. Just gonna go and spend it on a load of shite that you don't need, and you're still gonna be just as unhappy, okay? It's wishful thinking for fear of change, or, this will trigger a few people and they'll probably leave, it's your excuse for inaction, okay? Now, there's 2 different levels here, and this is why sometimes it's better to be in hell than it is to just be bored and unfulfilled, okay? If you are bored or unfulfilled in a relationship, career or personal, you will probably never do anything about it, okay? And there'll always be an excuse for inaction, like, he's trying, he will get better, or, we've not had sex for 2 years, but it might suddenly start to get better. It's not, it's an excuse for inaction, okay? It's wishful thinking for fear of change. But the kicker is, if you are just slightly bored or unfulfilled, it's not strong enough to instigate that change, okay? I quit that job because I ended up in hell, okay? I made the change to stop putting shit in my body, let's say, that I shouldn't have been, because I'd got to a position of hell, and because it got so bad, it knee-jerked change, because change had to happen, okay? So pure hell will lead to action. If you are becoming physically sick because you hate your job that much, that will... Excuse me, guys, sorry, my sinus is still so bad. That will knee-jerk you into change. But if you are just kind of a little bit bored and unfulfilled, that's the danger zone, because it's not enough to make you change. Okay, you're not, it's not keeping you awake at night, but you're just drifting. It's like the living dead, isn't it? So fear of the unknown is often disguised as optimism. So remember that, okay? But the question that I want to ask you today to leave on, because I hope these will all be thought-provoking. I want you guys to go away from these lives with a pen and a paper and start to write stuff down and start to think about possible changes you could make that would lead you towards a happier life. Purely because that's what I did, okay? I don't ever want these lives to come across as like I'm forcing advice down people, because some of you might not even be unhappy. You might love your jobs and be in the best relationship ever. It's just for those people that aren't, I want to get it across in a way of the way it worked for me, okay? And because I was obviously really, really unhappy and how it changed. So start asking yourself this question every day. Paul, who coaches me, who's probably the best coach in the world, is obsessed with asking questions, and that's how he coaches, and that's how he believes you should coach. And I really, really agree. Because our life comes down to the quality of the questions that we ask, okay? Are you better off or happier now than you were 1 year ago, 1 month ago, or even 1 week ago, okay? If yes, great, amazing, incredible, powerful. Keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing, even if it's on a weekly, a yearly, that's a weekly, okay? If you look up weekly in the dictionary, it's a cross between a year and a week. So what I mean, if you thought about cocking up on live videos, anyone who should be doing live videos for their business, by the way, just do it. No one cares. You can swear, fart, come up with the wrong phrase, say something really stupid. If you're making an effort and trying to help people, no one cares. Trust me on that, okay? But if you are not making any changes, then nothing is going to change. That is a fact. That is the same as dropping the pen again. I'm not going to drop a pen because I keep doing that and it lands on the thing. I'm going to drop my Apple Pencil. As sure as the law of gravity, okay? If you are no happier than you were last week, last year, last month, and you do nothing, nothing will change. End of fact. No story, no advice, no wishy-washiness. That's a fact. An absolute fact. Just like gravity, okay? Now, how long is life going to be? It's going to be a long ass life if you are not taking any action or making any change, okay? I can't do it for you. I can give you the coaching, I can give you the knowledge, I can give you the impact, and if you join my team, I can give you the accountability, because I will force you to start doing things that will take you out of unhappiness. Just like Amy's going to get forced to do things in her business every single day, which are going to skyrocket her to be the best female online coach in this area, if not in the UK, because I will make her do them. Okay, that's the power of having a coach. Paul makes me do things. He forces me to upscale. He forces me to be accountable. He smashes me to pieces when he needs to, and then builds me back up. Okay, and all his other clients, you see it in the group. It's not an easy ride, okay? But I'm going to have you consider this to end on, okay? Amy's going to be self-employed as well, fully, which is going to give her more money, more freedom, and more impact. And she's also going to be a mother very soon. Let's say you have 40 years of your working life left. Probably not. That you'd have to be like, this is when my maths is not very good. To be around your 30s, wouldn't you? 25. Yeah, let's use Amy as an example. 30. Still not having that she's 30 years old, by the way. I only found out the other day, she's a client. She was in my fucking club when she was 17. Anyway, we digress. So let's say you work till you're 70 from 30, okay? Because retirement's gone out the window a bit now, hasn't it? 40 years. That's 500 months doing something that you hate. If your relationship isn't working, that's 500 and more, because I didn't include weekends in that, months doing something you hate. If you are overweight, unfit, unhappy, and not taking any action about it, you've got 500 more fucking months of feeling like that every single day. Are you going to take action, or are you just going to keep doing the same things, okay? Because what I would also work out, you can work out the difference. You might not be 30 like Amy, you might be 40 or 50. How many have you got left? How many months have you got left? How many months have you got left feeling unhappy with your job, your career, your physique, your fitness, your relationships, if you are unhappy with any of them? Okay? Write it down. Get this stuff out of your head and onto paper, because all I want to do is be able to instigate some change to help you to force yourself to upscale and start to be happier, healthier, fitter, and more productive in all areas of your life. Because once upon a time I wasn't, and it is truly life-changing. So I hope that's been helpful again this morning. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. As soon as I log out, I'm going to drop the webinar link in. We have a free webinar on Sunday night at 8 p.m. I will be discussing, we'll be doing about 20 minutes on fitness, about 20 minutes on nutrition, and about 20 minutes on mindset. Okay, so you should have a serious game plan for each one of those three areas to take away from this webinar for free. But it is only on Zoom. You do need to register, okay? This stuff is way too powerful to be going out just on Facebook. It's for you guys only. Make sure you hit the link. Make sure you register. I'll see you on Sunday. See you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. And Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. And Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. And Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Life changing. Take care, guys. I love you all. Have an awesome day.